Oh,吓死我了. That was scary, guys. I'm scared. Alright, guys. Welcome to the first ever Valorant guide that we're doing. Lots of people have been requesting for things to do with Valorant and all that. So we are going to start with the most basic, simple thing I could think of, which is an aim training routine and a warm-up. You can use this entire thing as your aim training, and you can also do this as a warm-up. Now, a lot of the time you don't have all that time available to you in order to do warm-up. And so I've picked out a few important key activities that you should try to incorporate into a warm-up if you don't have time to go through the whole thing. So I'll jump straight into it. I've put on this big red crosshair just so it becomes easier for you guys to see it on your screens. So let's go with that. So first thing, and this is probably the most important thing, is to just turn on the bots like this and go into the middle of all of them. Right, pick a gun you like, Vandal, Phantom, Guardian, you know, Sheriff, whatever, and just stand there and shoot the bots in the head. Right, simple enough, but this is also one of the single most important things you can do. Because, especially as a warm-up, when you first wake up, get on the game, whatever, you're not comfortable with the size of your mouse pad. You're not going to be comfortable doing all these big swipes, all of that. So this activity really gets you going around in circles and makes you get used to using your entire mouse pad to turn. Right, just going around, shooting them in circles, and so on. Now the key here is don't stand still. Make sure you are also moving between every shot so you can time your movement with your aim and with your shots. Just like what I'm doing on the screen. And the other thing that's important to note is that you do not want to go in one direction only, such as like doing only leftward circles or only going for the right. You want to do left, right, you know, clear them out sort of in this range and just go around in the circle. Now, obviously, don't rush your shots because accuracy is key here. And then once you start getting into the groove, you can go as fast as you can, just without trying to lower your accuracy right too much. The other important thing is you get into this habit of, you know, slightly looking downwards. I know lower rank players, we talk about crosshair placement, they like to look at the ground, right? But the same thing applies to higher rank players. A lot of the time, we're not comfortable with head height being here. We always aim around the neck area. We walk around the map looking like this. Being really close to these bots really makes you have to slightly raise your crosshair, and it makes you more comfortable looking at the actual position of where heads are. You'd rather pull down than have to try flick up in a spray, because pulling down is more natural as well. So this helps you readjust your crosshair placement and get comfortable with your movements. And that's the two most important things for your warm-up. The next activity in this is that we will go to the back wall here, and you'll do the same thing for one taps, but this is just a bit more precision heavy, and you're trying to get those long range shots in. Obviously, depending on the crosshair you use, you might struggle with this a bit more, like I am with this really big crosshair. It's kind of hard to see if they're right in the head, but this is the second activity. It's pretty self-explanatory. You know, you've done your close range, now it's time to do some long range. After your long range, you actually turn off the bots, and this is probably the second most important part of this entire routine. So the long range thing, I think, is more optional, but this is really important. Now, what you want to do here is do bursts against the wall and try to control it along with your movement, just like this. And you want to interchange it a bit with, you know, one bullet only, and up to 3 bullets or 2 bullets, and just, you know, time it with your own groove. Now what this does is helps you get used to your movements and shooting and micro-adjusting in conjunction with your movement. Right, it's a very important skill. I think it's one of the most important things you need to do in this game because recoil resets are pretty fast. Crouch spraying is a really bad habit, and this kind of fixes with that. So what you should be getting, as you can see here, is perfect positioning and centered sprays. If you're looking something like this, right, if you're getting these stray bullets, like the ones on the screens here, then you're doing something wrong. It means a lot of the time you might be, you know, not recoil resetting properly, not controlling your burst properly, and or you're running gunning by accident. You know, like you're not comfortable with your movement and timing with your shot, and then that's when you kind of get all those stray bullets. Something like that. So it's important to try to get into the sync. And once you're in that sync, your left and right hands are in sync, your movement is in sync, your shot's in sync, that's when you start getting into the zone and you can consider yourself truly warmed up. Bonus activity you can then try do. This one helps you hit those shots that you shouldn't really be able to hit. It's not the most practical practice, but nonetheless it's still a bit of work, is to try use the bot over here. So if the bot's on 5 meters, and basically you just get your Sheriff and you try to hit it on the head with your movement. Those pixel angles. So the important thing here is because it's a one tap and you try to shoot it as soon as you see the pixel, it really trains your pre-firing ability and also your movement to do those one shots. So what will help you is, for example, you're playing chamber and you hit those shots that you're not supposed to hit. where you see them for a pixel and you just do things like that. You know, swing out the corner, give them a one tap. Now, obviously, this isn't always going to happen, but those times that you do hit those, oh, those are nice. Second to last activity, come up to the top here, you shoot these targets. You use the training you just did against the wall over there, your timing shots, and you hit these targets. Doing the exact same thing, but this time you actually need to hit the targets. I like to use a Vandal and only shoot 3 bullets, because the targets die in 2, and therefore, if I shoot 3 bullets and don't hit 2 out of the 3, then I'm not ready to go in. Because you should be hitting at least 2 of the 3. That's a 66% accuracy against relatively stationary targets, so it shouldn't be a challenge, and if you are having a challenge with that, then you're not warmed up, or you can do a bit more aim training. So it's not that hard. You want to be able to shoot the bots, use your burst fires, and so on. And what you want to be able to try to do is reach a perfect clear. So what I mean by a perfect clear is that, for example, just there, I tried to shoot this target, I missed it, and you just go through a clear. So you should be able to clear all 8 targets in one go without actually missing on any of them. So you kind of just reset yourself if you missed. You should be able to comfortably full clear all of these targets, and that's when you're ready to go in. So the last bonus activity as well that you can do is to use the targets here again. This is a jet specific one where you want to hit the jet knives on the head. Now the advantage of this is because jet knives have 100% accuracy at all times, running, jumping, whatever. So it's kind of the hardest, most mechanical ability to use in the game because it will always benefit from raw aim. So what you want to do is, once again, get these targets and you just want to knife them on the head as quick as you can, and this is where you start doing fast target switch. For people who are more beginners, you might want to just like stand towards the side and stand still and just try to flick between targets. But for people who are a bit more advanced, you can add a bit more difficulty into that with movement. So I'm kind of not hitting these targets because there's a giant crosshair. If you are a beginner, stand still, try to give it a go, start getting that high accuracy. Start hitting some fast shots and all that. If you are a bit more intermediate, you know, add some jumping, moving, all of that, updrafts, hits, whatever it is that you need to do to add difficulty. Finally, the hardest challenge is you want to do things like flying updraft, you know, gliding in multiple different directions, and like hold down your left click and try to make sure that you can hit targets the entire time you're gliding down. So if you look at this, your updraft dash, and you just hold down M1, and then it just means you're constantly hitting the target switches until you land. If you do something like this, where you like miss the knives midway through, that's a failed run in my opinion. Right, like that. So you want to be able to hit these targets, even if it's on the body, that's fine. But obviously, ideally, you want to try to get them on the head. So this is the last activity you need to do. Key note, I'll put this in the description as well. The most important ones is obviously the targets standing in between. This is the single most important activity you can do. Now, the second most important activity is your burst fire control, right? Your movement and your burst fire control. So the first one corrects for crosshair placement and arm movement. Second one corrects for movement and shooting sync, so you don't accidentally cause running guns and things like that. Also trains your patience, gets your timings right, and you don't panic. And lastly, it's to put it into practice and actually get around shooting some targets and trying to be accurate. After this, I would personally go play a couple of death matches, and that would be my warm-up. For my actual aim training, you could do this as well. And you just put them on, you know, pick a mode you like and just spend some time just sitting here shooting bots, and that's all it really is. Get into the habit. For how long should you do this? Well, I don't really like giving set times of like, do 5 minutes of this, do something of that. I think when you're doing aim training, right, you should be able to relax and enjoy it. And so an important part of that is, you know, put some background music on. Do this for a song, do this for 2 songs, you know, like have some music in the back, just vibe and just enjoy your music, chill out, hit some bots, do your warm-ups. You have couples, like 1 or 2 songs here, maybe only 1 towards the back. This one isn't as important. For your shooting against the wall, again, another song, another 2 songs maybe, and same thing for up the top. It really just depends on how much time you have available to you to do your warm-ups. That's honestly really all you need. One thing that's important to note is you should always do your warm-ups and aim training in the game when possible, and when you're done with rank grind or whatever grind session you're doing, that's when you go to play things like Kovacs and AimLab, right? Those are the things you do at the end of the sessions, not prior to or during the sessions, because when you do play those modes, they're actually really, really draining to you, and if you zone out, you can't really play those well. So if you do this during your grind session, it kind of actually wears you off, and you'd rather use in-between Q timers, all of that, to reset yourself and reset your mentals. As for why you shouldn't do it for warm-ups, well, if you're about to play the game, why warm up in a different game when you can just warm up in the game itself? The range here is the perfect tool for that. So is Deathmatch. So that's all from me. Hope this helps you guys hit more shots and climb your ranks. This is honestly all you need to do. Don't overcomplicate things, right? Simple tasks like this go a long way. If you really do want to get better, look over your gameplay and see more than just your aim and your mechanics. There's got to be other things you can improve on. Hopefully I'll make more videos talking about other things you can do, but just for the case of aim training, this is honestly all you really need. Hope you guys liked it. Like, sub, join the Discord, follow the socials. I keep forgetting to say that. I finally remembered it once. It's really important. We're trying to hit 1K subs and 4K hours watched, so any support would be appreciated. Hope you liked the video. See you guys in the next one.